Time Warner Cable is pleased to be an underwriting sponsor for Carolina Week.
Coming up on the October 6th edition of Carolina Week.
I'm Carly Stevenson. I'll tell you about the resources available for survivors of sexual assault and what you can do to protect yourself.
We'll show you how one local middle school is bringing popular technology off the shelves and into the classroom.
In sports, the football team prepares for Clemson, and the men's soccer team continues to take care of business.
Weathercaster Suzanne Wilson will tell us how long these chilly temperatures will stick around.
All that, and we'll give you a taste of what's cooking at a popular local brewery.
Carolina Week starts right now.
From the James F. Goodman Studio in the School of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, connecting campus and community, this is Carolina Week.
Nearly 20% of women in this country will suffer a sexual assault at some time in their lives. Good evening, I'm Andrea Lutka.
And I'm Claudia Rupsich. Thank you for joining us. 80% of those attacks happen to women younger than 30. But sexual assault and relationship violence are often taboo topics on college campuses. Carly Stevenson is live in our studio. Carly, is that why many incidents go unreported?
It is, Claudia, but when Duke University expanded its procedure about reporting forcible sex acts last year, there was a rise in the number of reported incidents. I looked at UNC's policy about sexual violence to see if there were reports here as well. Carolyn Fish counsels young women regularly and says support for survivors is the first step to healing.
The more supported a victim or a survivor or who becomes a survivor feels about their experience, the more they feel like they have the right to go forward and speak about it.
UNC defines the act of sexual assault as sexual exploitation, forcible penetration, or an act of sexual contact on the body of another person, male or female, without his or her consent. Assistant Dean of Students Melinda Manning says there's been a gradual increase in the number of students who report incidents in the past few years.
I think people get kind of freaked out when you see the numbers rise, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing.
According to a national report, about 35 women per 1,000 suffer some sort of assault each year. When one applies that ratio to more than 15,000 students, it translates to 300 to 400 assaults per year at UNC. Project DINA co-chair Carolyn Fish says only about 30 to 35 get reported.
It's a good thing because we know the numbers are already really high. And so until we're getting 300 reports, we're going to be happy that people are reporting.
And how can this topic become something that is okay to talk about?
And so often we're afraid to talk about it because, it's very taboo in our society to talk about sex. But remember, it's nothing about sex. It's all about violence.
If the survivor is ready to talk about the incident, he or she can speak with someone in the Office of the Dean of Students, Academic Affairs, Administrators in Housing, Campus Health Services, or law enforcement officials.
Carly, how do students go about reporting incidents to law enforcement?
Claudia, I found that with the students' permission, UNC administrators are available to help submit reports to the appropriate law enforcement agency.
That's Carly Stevenson, live in our studio. Thanks, Carly.
Midterm elections are fast approaching, and community members gathered to talk politics Tuesday night with two former Washington insiders. Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences Karen Gill introduced political pundits William Kristol and Mark Shields in Memorial Hall. After a few brief comments about the state of the nation.
Now, the roles are reversed. The tables are turned, and the Democrats are the ends.
Kristol and Shields said they think the Republican Party will take control of Congress after the midterm elections. Early voting begins in Orange County in less than 2 weeks. UNC will host a series of political speakers leading up to the elections. On October 14th, author and political commentator Melissa Harris Lacewell will deliver the 18th annual Sonia Haynes Stone Memorial Lecture, discussing the interplay of race and politics nationwide. The free public event will be held on campus at UNC's Stone Center.
Well, you won't be able to make a deposit or withdrawal from the Rosemary Street BB&T today due to an armed robbery Tuesday afternoon. Police say a man held up the bank around 4 o'clock yesterday. They aren't saying how much he may have taken. Officers marked off the area inside the bank with orange tape and dusted for fingerprints. Police don't know if the crime is related to another Orange County bank robbery that occurred around noon Tuesday and haven't taken anyone into custody.
It's been more than 2 years since this landmark Chapel Hill restaurant closed its doors. But by the end of this year, the Ram's Head Rathskeller will once again be open for business. The Rathskeller was originally opened in 1948 by a family of Austrian immigrants and is slated to return to its original location in Amber Alley off Franklin Street, right across from Bandito's Mexican Cafe. The restaurant served everything from apple pie to beer in the bar and was a popular spot for Carolina students for decades.
Franklin Street's newest shop is putting up some sweeter sales numbers than expected. Krispy Kreme started serving its delicious glazed donuts on Franklin Street a little more than a month ago, and the managers say they're already exceeding sales expectations. Franklin Street's only donut shop is finding a demand for glazed treats that few could have expected. But students and residents aren't the only ones helping business grow. Children are also playing a big role in the shop's booming popularity. Store managers are optimistic that sales will stay strong. And if you've had too many donuts, you might consider burning off those calories while supporting a good cause. The wheels are turning all this week in the Quad as students and community members bike to Uganda. Figuratively speaking, of course, the week-long charity event is sponsored by the student group Building Tomorrow. The goal is to raise enough money through donations to build a school in Uganda. Participants will give money to pedal 10 stationary bikes, the equivalent of 7,400 miles. That's the distance between Chapel Hill and Uganda.
Most schools find mobile devices distracting, but I found one school right here in Chapel Hill that's actually encouraging students to use them in the classroom. At home, 7th grader Kenzie Rustin shows her mom her favorite applications on the iPod Touch she was lucky enough to get for Christmas. But at school, the rest of the students are pretty lucky now, too.
In the morning, everyone comes in and gets their iPod and quickly sits down and plays with it.
You heard right. Culbreth Middle School in Chapel Hill is giving iPod Touches to every student, nearly 700 of them, to use in class during the school day. Teachers were hesitant at first.
What are we going to use these for? These are pretty much like an iPod to listen to music on.
Then they realized they didn't have to go to the computer lab all the time anymore.
Basically, each kid has a computer in their hand.
Students use them to access applications ranging from music to spelling and even geography. Administrators say the devices also help level the playing field.
A critical tool in terms of equity because it gives, as I had said before, everybody access. Nobody gets the power. Everybody gets it.
And Kenzie's mother, Dawn, has seen how it helps her daughter learn from more than just textbooks.
You're not just using paper and pencil and doing math problems. You're doing these kind of fun, silly games, but really it's math.
And what about when students are just playing games?
It's something that's going to happen. You know, if you're a good teacher, you're going to catch it and you're going to stop them from doing it anyway.
Culbreth is the first public school in the nation to give iPod Touches to every student. And Kenzie knows it's a big deal.
I feel lucky. It's very exciting that we're the first ones.
But not for long. Culbreth's real-life example has administrators across the state working to get the cutting-edge devices into the hands of their own students. Actually got funding for the iPod Touch program from a grant, and other schools in the district are also making it a priority to integrate mobile devices into the classroom.
Genes that determine your height could ultimately save lives.
Coming up, we'll tell you about the groundbreaking work UNC researchers are doing to fight disease.
Hey.
Ready to go?
Yeah, but the fire's not out.
It's close enough.
Close enough? If it's too hot to touch, it's too hot to leave. I mean, the next thing you know, you've torched our whole neighborhood.
Which is why we're not going anywhere?
Exactly. 9 out of 10 wildfires are caused by humans.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Two out of 3 people with diabetes die of heart attack or stroke. That was his wake-up call. This is yours. Ask your healthcare provider how you can lower the risk. To learn more, go to diabetesactnow.org.
Oh, those boys are much too much. Those boys are much too much. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We're going to beat them and bust them. Beat them.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
Let's get a little bit rowdy. R-O-W-D-Y.
Take time to be a dad
One more
today.
time. All those boys are much too much. Those boys.
2 UNC doctors have helped crack the genetic code that determines our height, and they say this knowledge will help with more medical discoveries. Reporter Kristen Garris joins us live in the studio with more.
That's right, Andrea. For the past 2 years, researchers and doctors worked on a study looking at complex trait genes like the ones that determine how tall you are. Doctors Carrie North and Carrie Monda are working together with an international team of researchers to understand medical conditions influenced by human height. In the study, doctors were looking for common genes that influence height and found a total of 180 different genetic regions. Dr. North said understanding height genes could help doctors understand certain diseases.
By making these identifications, we're better able to understand not only height, but other common diseases, because there's some genes that influence both height and other diseases like type 1 diabetes, for example.
The results are encouraging, but Monda says researchers still have a lot to learn.
The further we get, the more we realize that we don't know. And so there's always more to learn.
And that's usually the way science progresses, Andrea, one baby step at a time.
So what's the next step in height gene research, Kirsten?
Andrea, the research is geared toward finding links between height diseases and height genes and diseases. You just have to wait to see if they find a treatment to make you taller.
Well, I guess I'm stuck at 5'7" for now. That's Kirsten Garris live in our studio. Thanks, Kirsten.
Flu season is right around the corner, and Campus Health Services is encouraging you to get vaccinated. Hand washing is still your best defense against the flu, but the vaccine is also available now through Campus Health Services. Flu clinics are being held today at Hooker Research Center and all across campus through October 22nd. Most of the clinics are open from 8 to 5, and you can register online for an appointment. This year, just one shot will protect you against the most common flu strains and H1N1. For a complete list of flu clinic locations and for more information about the flu, click on the flu season link on carolinaweek.org.
The scientific community is buzzing about a new discovery this week that experts say is just right. Scientists and researchers are fascinated by the discovery of a new planet, dubbed Gliese 581G, that many believe could sustain life. Experts are calling the new discovery the Goldilocks planet because it lies within the habitable zone around its nearest star that scientists say is just right for life. There's no way to confirm whether life already exists on the faraway planet, but the new discovery is likely to keep researchers fascinated for years.
You probably know parking has always been an issue at UNC, but the Department of Public Safety is promoting a program that might save students the hassle of searching for spaces. AJ Keener is in Chapel Hill with more.
UNC Religious Studies major Walt Peters is among the approximately 200 students who didn't get parking passes this year.
Obviously, the fact that we have to say no to a lot of people who apply for parking passes and they don't get it is a testament to the fact that I think that in an ideal situation we should have more parking on campus in general.
But students like Walt might not need to fight for these parking spaces much longer. Zipcar is the Department of Public Safety's newest alternative transportation system, and DPS spokesman Randy Young says that Zipcar is starting to catch on campus and off.
So more and more folks are availing themselves of this and finding out just what it can do and how many opportunities it provides and really how flexible the program is, how open it is.
With the click of a button, drivers become Zipcar members and have access to many cars in their area.
Once the reservation is complete, the customer's Zip card will then act as the key to the car they've reserved.
Simply locate your car, swipe your Zip card, use the car keys, and go. No need to worry about gas on your trip. That's included in your Zipcar membership. Walt thinks some students might decide to forego the parking pass process altogether.
If it's more convenient for you to have a job and to take out the Zip card, then I think students are definitely going to use it.
Which would mean fewer cars on campus and a lot less time wasted searching for a hard-to-find parking space. In Chapel Hill, I'm AJ Keener, Carolina Week.
You can drive a Zipcar anywhere you want, but you have to pay extra if you travel more than 180 miles round trip. And weathercaster Suzanne Williams joins us now in the studio with the latest forecast.
Yeah, can we expect any more warm weather before we go fully into fall?
Today is a special day. Today we gather as a nation and as an international community to recognize the selfless decision of one of the most influential women of our time. She's been recognized by religious figures and politicians around the world. To us, she's just Rachel. But to the rest of the world, she's the woman who, after having one too many drinks, chose not to drive home buzzed. Here today to honor Rachel is the family whose lives she spared.
There's a place, not so far away, a place where you don't have to keep the volume down. You'll find all sorts of creatures in this place without have to. The silly you, the proud you. You may even meet the curious you.
Tickling me! You!
Ask your parents to take you to this not so far away place. Come to the forest, where the other you lives. But first, stop by discovertheforest.org.
Good evening and welcome back to Carolina Week. I'm Suzanne Wilson and thanks for sticking with us. I bet this morning whenever you went out there to check out to get ready for your morning commute, it was definitely chilly, so you probably grabbed a jacket and maybe even a scarf. But this afternoon we hit a high around 70, and so we're getting into warmer evenings, warmer afternoons, but then cooling down in the evening to where we're going to need that jacket again. So we're getting into this pattern of cool mornings, warm afternoons, and cool evenings. Looking at our satellite radar, there is this band of clouds that's been sitting off the coast for quite a while. It's not really affecting our weather any, just giving us some afternoon clouds like we saw today, but nothing really exciting coming from that front. The low pressure system here with that cold front is what that band of clouds is from. And there's even this, this tropical depression off here to the coast that's actually by tomorrow will probably be a tropical storm Otto. But there's nothing really going on. This cold front will be moving into the area starting tomorrow. Tonight we can expect mostly clear skies with light west winds. Temperatures around 45, so again we're getting cool as the evening progresses. Moving into Thursday, that low pressure system moves up to our north and it really pushes that tropical storm Otto off into the coast, off into the Atlantic, so it doesn't affect our coast any. And then this cold front moves into the area and brings us a cooler Friday as what it looks like. Thursday, we can expect sunny skies, west winds 10 to 15 miles per hour. They're quite strong winds, which are going to make the 78 feel a little bit cooler than it actually is. So we are warming up, but with the winds sticking around, we will have cooler feeling temperatures. For the big game on Saturday, we're playing the Clemson Tigers. Around tailgate time, it'll be 60 for the beginning of the tailgate. Kickoff is at 3:30. We're going to be quite warm moving into the tailgate, the kickoff session at around 80 degrees. Sunset is at 6:45 for the post-game temperature will be around 67, which is going to be quite cool. So again, we're going to need the jacket for the beginning and the end of our day. Looking at our 5-day forecast, Thursday we're going to have 78 for a high, a cool morning on Friday with 50 degrees, and Friday as the cold front moves through, we're cooling down to a 76 degrees. And to take a look at the next 5 days, we're going to be warming up to a temperature of around 80 for Saturday, 79 for Sunday, and 80 for Monday. So it looks like we're going to have a really great weekend.
Yeah, it's really important for the game this weekend, right?
Mm-hmm, it is. We're going to have great weather, so just make sure to get out there.
That's great. Thank you for joining us, Suzanne.
The owner of UNC's mascot remains seriously ill after an injury on his farm almost a month ago. We told you 2 weeks ago that an accident that left Ramsey's owner, Rob Hogan, seriously injured. Tonight, Hogan is still listed in critical condition at UNC hospitals. Hogan injured his knee after a fall from his tractor on September 15th. He suffered further complications, but doctors say Hogan's condition is improving gradually. Well, sportscaster Justin Page joins us. Thanks for joining us, Justin.
No, Justin, I'm so happy to see our football team is really stepping it up. Do you think we can expect them to keep this up?
Claudia, it'll be really interesting to see Saturday. They welcome the Clemson Tigers to town. Should be a great game. Suzanne talked about the fantastic weather we should have. We'll get into that just after the break. But also coming up after the break, there's new research that could help athletes prevent knee injuries.
El envenenamiento por pintura con plomo afecta a más de 1 millón de niños. El polvo de la pintura con plomo puede causar comportamiento violento. Si su casa se construyó antes de 1978, llame o conéctese.
Los albergues son los mejores lugares para encontrar a una nueva mascota. Descubrirás saludables y amorosos animales esperando a convertirse en parte de tu familia. Cree en el espíritu de la temporada. Adopta a tu nuevo amigo de un albergue hoy. Averigua más en theshelterpetproject.org.
Bienvenidos, encantado. Entiendo que necesitan ayuda con la hipoteca. Quieren evitar un embargo. Nosotros somos expertos en esa cosita de la hipoteca.
¿De veras?
Y por supuesto, porque nos hacemos un contrato.
Toma, Pedro.
Gracias.
Si enfrenta una ejecución hipotecaria, hable con las personas indicadas. Llame sin costo alguno a los asesores de vivienda aprobados por HUD al teléfono 888-995-4673.
Welcome back to sports. I'm Justin Page. After losing its first 2 games, the UNC football team is on a roll and will look for its 3rd straight win when it takes on Clemson this Saturday at Kenan Stadium. The defense will surely get a boost this week. Senior safety Deontay Williams finally makes his return to the field after missing the first 4 games because of the NCAA investigations. Now, the defense has certainly improved during the past couple of games, and the safety duo of Williams and Denora Searcy, right there, number 21, could mean more big plays for the Heels. Meanwhile, quarterback TJ Yates and the rest of the offense will try to keep up their solid play. You can bet the Heels will focus on running the ball after racking up more than 250 rushing yards against East Carolina. And of course, don't forget about TJ Yates. The team captain is having his best season yet. He's currently 2nd in the ACC in passing efficiency. Remember last season? What a turnaround for him. And he's thrown 7 touchdowns and only 1 interception. The Heels and Tigers kick off at 3:30 on Saturday. UNC defensive tackle Greg Ellaby tore the ACL and MCL in his left knee in Saturday's win against the Pirates, and it looks like that's the end of the season for Ellaby. But reporter Emily Hawks tells us about a research study at UNC Sports Med Lab that could help prevent such devastating knee injuries.
But he got twisted in a weird way, and he's down holding his leg.
It's something no athlete ever wants to see. It's an expression of pain, and most likely one that marks the end of a season.
I remember taking a handoff, and I cut it back across field. And I got tackled the wrong way, so I tried to get up, and the doctors wouldn't let me, so that's when I knew it was something serious.
Blue is a sophomore running back for UNC. He tore his ACL, MCL, and PCL last season against Georgia Southern. All 3 of those ligaments stabilize the knee and allow for movement, such as running and jumping.
He can't get off the field under his own power.
A tear to any one of them usually requires reconstructive surgery and a long rehabilitation process.
They usually take up to a year to get to, for the injury I had.
Dr. Darren Padua, director of the UNC Sports Med Lab, just finished gathering data as part of a study about monitoring and preventing ACL injuries. He's already seeing some preliminary results.
Looks like just the ability to control your hip motion. So people whose hips kind of rotate inward real fast, or they kind of allow their knees to collapse in together, those types of movement patterns seem to be things that you'd want to avoid.
Dr. Padua says that the research shows that athletes involved in sports such as soccer, football, and basketball are at the highest risk for knee injuries. Even though Blue is improving from his injury, every practice is still a struggle.
Every time I run, I try not to favor it, and it's on my mind still.
Although Padua is making progress in his field, Blue hopes it won't be long before he's back on the football field catching touchdown passes. In Chapel Hill, I'm Emily Hawks, Carolina Week.
Blue says he expects to be back on the field sometime this season. The number 2 men's soccer team is now 7-2 going into Friday's match against Wake Forest. Last night, fans bundled up at Fetzer Field to watch UNC take on the Radford Highlanders. The Heels had 8 shots in the first half, but couldn't capitalize, you see right there. Radford took advantage early to put the Highlanders up 1-0, but Carolina, they were just warming up. Here's Martin Murphy with a garbage goal in traffic. Check that out right there, and we're tied at 1. And the second half was all about the Heels. UNC scored 4 more times on goals like this bomb by Kirk Urso and this penalty kick by Matt Rose. Unfortunately for Radford, they couldn't recover, and the Heels take it away 5-1. Tonight, the volleyball team is in action playing a conference foe. They're playing the Wake Forest Demon Deacons tonight in Winston-Salem. Against Winston-Salem, the Heels will look to stay unbeaten in conference play. They're currently 5-0 right now, and the match starts at 7 p.m. So we certainly wish the ladies the best of luck, and the football team, big game on Saturday against Clemson.
I'm really excited for that game, and I really hope we can continue this winning streak.
I hope so.
All right, thanks, Justin. Well, we all want to follow our dreams after graduation.
Coming up, we'll show you how one UNC grad is using the past to tap into his future.
If you have a story idea, call Carolina Week at 919-843-8292 or email us at carolinaweek@unc.edu. If you have questions about this program, write Carolina Week at Campus Box 3365, UNC-CH, Chapel Hill, North Carolina 27599. Be sure to check out Carolina Week and Carolina Connection online at carolinaweek.org.
How many trees in the cookie jar? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
Go, Dad! Go, Dad!
Take time to be a dad today.
Folks, why won't we go to the doctor? My uncle called, speech all slurred, complaining his arms numb. He called everyone. He even called my daughter Tiara, because, you know, she's got a year of nursing. Everyone thinks he needs to go to the doctor, including me. So he said, well, will you take me? I'm like, I'm on the road. He goes, I'll wait. Stroke's no joke. If you or someone you love have symptoms of stroke, don't wait. It may be too late. Dial 911. Time loss is brain loss.
Some UNC alumni have dreams of graduate school or Wall Street.
Emily Kennard and Kelly Lynch show us one former UNC history major who's brewing what he learned in school into something unique.
Ollie, you can see connections to UNC everywhere. You just have to look closely. Each beer at Big Boss is named after a World War II fighter jet. The connection to Carolina, owner Jeff Lamb. He graduated from UNC in 1990 with a history degree. At Big Boss, he can combine his love for history, North Carolina, and beer.
I think that, UNC is I think it's a great college. I had a blast there. And I think that there is definitely, that's probably when I got, sort of bitten by the beer bug.
Each beer's name and label is displayed on panels designed by local artist Scott Pridgeon. However, Lamb said he was never able to combine his interests of beer and history while at school.
Modern European history was my specialty, so no, I never had to write a paper on that, but it would have been interesting if I had actually done that. I probably, either would have got an A or an F.
In addition to hiring local artists, Big Boss also uses local ingredients and even incorporates fresh plants which grow outside the brewery. This is what attracts loyal customers like Neil Zipzer.
Outstanding local beer. The brown ale is outstanding beer as well as their seasonal, it's the harvest time.
Big Boss opened in 2006 and is located in North Raleigh.
Until next time,
it's Emily
and Kelly. And remember,
every good beer has a good story.
Cheers.
And cheers to you. That does it for this edition of Carolina Week.
Thanks for watching. Good night.